Hey, welcome on in. It's Lunch with Claibs and Joe here on claibsonline.com, powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura, and also sponsored by our guy, Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, online at thehomeloanexpert.com. I am Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Mike Claiborne. Claibs, how you doing?
I'm doing well. The question is, how are you doing? You had the big triathlon this weekend, so let's get that out of the way and talk a little bit about your experience. I know it was your first, so give me the details.
The weather could not have been better yesterday for everything, and I somehow convinced myself and talked myself out of any kind of nerves ahead of time. Got my wetsuit last week and swam in the pool at the gym a couple times beforehand. And I tell you what, that made a huge difference, as I thought my swim time was going to be around 50 minutes. That's a mile in the water, in Lake Michigan, too. I thought it was going to be around 50 minutes. I got out of the water in 35 minutes.
Wow.
So I was flying. I thought I was going to have to stop a feet times. I did not stop once in the water.
If you stop, you drown, right? I mean, there's no bottom of the pool in a lake.
They have boats along the way. Like they have, they have volunteers, they have lifeguards in boats along the way, and they tell you, like, hey, if you need to grab onto a boat, do whatever you need to do to finish the swim portion of it. And I just kept swimming, and I was like, you know what? I don't need to stop. And just by the time you did kind of a loop around, so you started off in Monroe Harbor in Lake Michigan, swimming towards the museums, and then turned back around and swam back towards Navy Pier. So you passed the start line, and as I just kept going, I was like, you know what? Like, this isn't that bad. I can keep going. I don't need to stop. And it was, I could not believe how fast I got out of there. My legs were completely shot after that. To where they tell you that, they warn you of that you will not have legs after being in the water for that amount of time kicking. And I got out, they have people helping bring you out up the steps. And I got out and I almost fell forward, and somebody grabbed me and caught me. And then it was about a quarter-mile run back to where your bike was. So all of that, I biked faster than I wanted to. I swam faster than I wanted to. My run was miserable. It was hot by then. You were just drained.
You were dead-legged anyway at that point.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you were swimming and biking for, at that point, it was, I think, around 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. And I just had nothing. My legs were shot, and my foot has been killing me for like the last 2 weeks. That I just, I just kept moving forward. That was all I kept doing. So it's, I knew that I could finish it in about 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I finished it under 3 hours and 12 minutes. So I was very, very happy with how everything went.
Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. I know you put a lot of work into it, and it's not an easy venture by any means. And for you to pull it off with your first one, how many people were participating?
The competitive international distance. So the distance that I did with other athletes saying they were competitive distance, there were 2,000 people.
Holy cow.
Over 2,000 people in it. Yeah. So I finished, I think it was 1,006th place. So I finished in the upper half. Upper half of that. That's fine. Now I already said I'm going to buy the wetsuit that I rented this week. I'm buying it, and I'm going to do it again I'm going to keep doing it till I finish it in under 3 hours.
Well, I'm not going to bet against you on that. I think what you did is certainly noble. Not many people in our business would even think about trying it. You did. So congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. Now I fly out to Virginia Beach on Saturday. I'm running a half marathon at Virginia Beach on Sunday. And as I now am back into training for the Chicago Marathon, that's in 6 weeks. So that's the full 26.2 mile marathon coming up.
You ever thought about August, like fishing or golf or something that's not as strenuous as well, you're a young guy. You might as well go for it at this stage of your life.
The guy that won it, 36 years old, same age as me, the guy that won the whole damn thing yesterday, he finished it in 1 hour and 59 minutes.
Jeez. We don't have baseball games. That takes about 4 innings of baseball these days.
It was God,
So,
yeah, it's
how
just
long has he been
impressive.
doing this? How long has he been
I
doing?
mean,
Do you know
he's
anything
had
about him?
this has to be something that he's been doing for, since college. You would think that this is some collegiate athlete that
Yeah,
does something I mean, just the look at his times of everything, compared them to
yeah,
mine. It's absolutely insane. Because I didn't see the guy. I have no idea who the guy is,
yeah.
or
He was
anything
already
like
at
that.
home. He had his feet up on the couch by the time you
Right. I
got
mean, he
out.
was
Yeah.
probably out running by the time I got out of the pool, by the time I got out of the water. So I mean, it's the looking at his times. It's just, you look like this guy was riding his bike. I think it was like 25 miles an hour. I
Oh.
couldn't imagine that. I could not imagine how fast my legs would have to go to be able to ride flat road for at 25 miles per hour on a bike.
Well, you know what we have to do. Uh, we'll do a podcast. I'd love to talk to some of these competitors and get with Dr. Rick. That's going to be one of our guests down the road, is to talk about this whole process and how tough it is. I knew a guy that was really good at it. He's no longer with us, but he would do that and was just outstanding at it. His life ended way too soon. His heart exploded playing pickup
Ooh.
basketball, but that's another story for another day. But congratulations, man. Good stuff.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I know you had the weekend off from your day job with the Cardinals. I don't think, after seeing the weekend that happened in Pittsburgh, you're too upset about having to
Not at
miss
all.
those 4 games.
Not at all. You and I have been talking about this for a long time. When you're a 500 team, it's weekends like this that are make most frustrating, because just when you think you turn the corner, there's something else waiting on you. I mean, you destroy Pittsburgh on Saturday, and then you come back and lose in a walk-off manner. Uh, they are who they are, and we're running out of games, we're running out of time, and this week will decide their fate. You've got 3 against Cincinnati, and then you got Milwaukee before you come home to take on the Dodgers. Okay, so let's say you win 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati. That means you got to go win 2 out of 3 at least in in Milwaukee, or 3 out of 4 at least in Milwaukee, because Cincinnati's going to play Detroit. I mean, they've got a very weak schedule from this point on. So you don't have games to give away like you did in Pittsburgh. You can't do that anymore. So it's frustrating as hell. And I know for Mike Schilt and his staff and players, it's very challenging. And how you fix it at this point, I don't know how. I don't think you can.
I had somebody on social media getting after me because I've talked with Rammer with the Daily Card Show about how nobody seems to want that 5th spot in the National League playoffs right now. The Padres have fallen off. The Cardinals, every time that the Padres or Reds open the door for them, the Cardinals seem to go up and go, "Hey guys, sorry, you left the door open," and
No,
they go
you
back and
take it.
close.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
exactly.
close it on themselves. And the guy, I had somebody reach out and go, "Oh, you must not be paying attention to what the Reds have done." The Reds are 2-4 in their last week. They won 2 games last week. They lost 2 to the Marlins. I mean, you talk about the Cardinals are up here getting embarrassed by the Pirates
Pirates.
on the bookend of their series on Thursday and on Sunday, where they should have swept it. I mean, the Cardinals should be entering this series right now 1.5 games back out of that playoff spot, that second wild card spot, and it just doesn't seem like they want it. It doesn't seem like they. I mean, to that 7th inning on Thursday night, when you look back at some of the bad losses the Cardinals have had this year, that is one of the most embarrassing losses that I think we've seen, because when you look at how close they keep getting to that wild card spot, 8 runs without an out against the Pirates. We're not talking about, it's one, if you would have done it against the Yankees with their offensive lineman unit they have at the top of their order right now. But to do it against the Pirates, and you can't get 1 out in the first 8 batters of the inning, what are we doing here?
Well, I think, well, you are a Joe fan here, and on the surface it looks like, well, you could have done something else. maybe he was short. Maybe he's got some guys in the bullpen that are barking. Maybe they don't have enough. And he's been working with a short bullpen all year, okay, for one reason or another. And while I didn't see the game, I'm just suspecting that was the case where he just didn't have many other options at that point because he had a short bullpen.
He went back to back to back with the lefties in the
Yeah.
bullpen. He went from McFarland to Miller to Cabrera. And I don't think I've ever seen a manager do that, go back to back to back with lefties for middle relievers. It's
Yeah.
one thing if that's how your pen is set up and those are your lights out guys, but to do that just middle relief, I think you throw a different look at him at some point.
Well, I think maybe he was thinking, and again, I wasn't there, that maybe he only felt like the only way he could get hurt is with left-handed hitters. And maybe that also indicates who wasn't available to him from the right side. Now, remember, you don't have Helsley out there. You're not sure about Ponce. Luis Garcia has worked a lot here recently, so he may have been short from the right side. I know at one point, was it last week, he really had 3 arms in the bullpen that he could really use. So again, there's a lot of reasons that we don't know about. So, but it was an unfortunate loss. You can't sugarcoat that. That was one you had to have, and you just didn't get it done. And I always remind people of this: no matter what the record is, whether it's Pittsburgh or Arizona or Detroit, they pay some guys on those other teams on the 1st and the 15th as well to go out and do their job. And every now and then they're going to break through for one reason or another. Either they're going to be good that night or you're going to help them. But you have to respect them as big leaguers. And, that should go into the equation as well.
Yeah, so so you lose 2 of 4 to the Pirates this weekend. You split the 4-game series with them. They head into Cincinnati. We know that they will not have Adam Wainwright on the they won't have Adam Wainwright on the mound for any of the games this series. KK did do a very good job in his spot start, taking the place of Jack Flaherty this week. So you're going to go into Cincinnati with Lester, with Michaelis, and with Hap. Michael is still looking for that first win since 2019. I've been happy with what I've seen out of him. I wasn't the most excited to see him making a return just because there was so much unknown with him, especially after his first start this year when he immediately went right back on the injured list following that. So I don't know what to expect out of your starting pitching this week against the Reds.
Here's what you do have working for you. The Reds are horrible against left-handed pitching this year. I mean, it's glaring to the point of what they've been able to do against left-handed pitching. So maybe that works in that regard. But overall, I think that you're running experience out there, and remember, this is an unfair ballpark to pitchers. So you're going to have some guys who know what they're doing. So I kind of like their chances. A, because you have experience. B, because Cincinnati can't hit lefties.
Want to talk about what we saw. First of all, I mentioned Adam Wainwright. He pitched on Saturday, had another spectacular outing this year. Does he finish? And also, happy 40th birthday to Adam Wainwright today. Look forward to see what he does the rest of the year. Where do you think? Do you think he's top 5 Cy Young voting right now?
No. I think from a sentimental standpoint, I think there are a lot of guys that are having good seasons. I think he's right on the cusp, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to get a lot of first place votes.
Okay. The other one, his battery.
Because let's face it, he's been doing a lot of damage against some really bad teams.
You know what, though? But the damage isn't just going out there and giving 7 innings, 1 or 2 runs. I mean, that damage has been going out there and throwing shutouts and pitching deep into games. So he's put up numbers that I think will be deserved of votes. I have not looked at the rest of the NL outside of Zach Wheeler to see who else would garner some of those votes for the Cy Young.
I think Buehler is a guy in LA that's going to get some votes. Scherzer is going to get some votes. And the guy in San Francisco, Gausman, he's going to get some votes. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are having decent seasons. Now, what's interesting, we won't have a 20-game winner this year. And I don't know how many guys we're going to have over 250 innings, if that many. So it's kind of open, but I just don't know if Wayno is in that top group of guys that's going to be considered. And especially, I think the first thing they're going to say, well, hell, you know what? If we could play Pittsburgh as much as he would, my ERA would go down too.
The his battery mate Yadier Molina signs a 1-year deal, $10 million. Are you surprised already that he's come out and said that that's going to be 2022 will be his last season?
No, I think his body is telling him that you have one more of these left. Despite how you feel, I think the toll that it takes, and I think that in some cases, and I think Wainwright's in a similar situation, your family comes into play. I mean, he's given 20 years of his life to baseball, and when your kids start to grow up, you have some other responsibilities. And a lot of times guys would play because of the money. Well, he doesn't need the money at this point. Neither does Wainwright in those circles. So you have other obligations, I think, that come into play. And I just think the wear and tear on your body just says, hey, look, enough is enough. So I'm glad it's out of the way. I'm glad it's not an off-season discussion point. And we know that he will bring his best next year. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
The before we get off the baseball thing, just want to get your quick. By the way, with that, does Wainwright come back next year to retire with
Yes.
Yachty?
Yes.
Does that
Because they got a
announcement
couple
does
of
that
things.
announcement come before the end of the season,
Who
or will
cares?
that come in
I
the
think
off
that's
season?
an off-season discussion he'll have to have, and maybe he's already had a discussion with his wife about future. You have that many kids running around. Sometimes a guilt trip comes into play. So if she says I can carry this one more year, then I think he stays. But she might say it's time to come home. But I think because of the battery combination, they have a chance to break that record. And if he continues to win, I think we did where he might end up the season maybe with 183, maybe 184 wins. So now all of a sudden 200 might be a reality. I mean, can he get to 16 wins? In the right situation. Well, yeah, we can get Pittsburgh on the schedule more. He's certainly got a chance. But I think that there are going to be some things that he's going to truly chase. And obviously, health has got to be one of those things he got to maintain. Cardinals have to make sure they put him in winning situations. And I think those are the reasons enough on why he'll come back, along with the fact that maybe they're going to make this team better where they can truly compete.
By the way, the Pirates today announced that they have fired
Rick
their hitting
Eckstein,
coach,
yeah.
Rick Eckstein, the brother of David Eckstein.
Well, that wasn't going well. And in my last conversation with David, I got the impression that Rick had kind of run its course with them with regard to his philosophy on hitting and what the analytics say. So I'm not surprised by that at all.
The before we get off the baseball stuff, quickly, Claibs, I don't know if you saw this from yesterday. Javi Baez
Yeah.
explained why he and Lindor and a few other Mets have been booing, giving a thumbs down to their fans whenever they do something good. This has caused Sandy Alderson, the president of the Mets, to come out and make a statement. The owner of the Mets, Steve Cohen, not happy with it as well. This is one of the dumbest, funniest sports things that I have ever seen. The fact that the Mets are booing their own fans when they get hits in games.
Well, I agree. It's dumb for sure. Um, and certainly for a sport that needs fans right now, this isn't good business at
No.
all. Um, and I was talking to Frank Cusimano earlier today about where does Baez land next year? He's having a terrible year. He had a terrible year last year. He's got enough flash to entice you, but I don't think he's a guy I want to give a 4 or 5 year contract to. I just don't. I can't trust him. So I think he might be a guy that might be taking a 1 year deal or 2 year deal, maybe, because he has been awful. If you look, he was on course at one point to have 200 strikeouts this year. His on base percentage is like 253. So I mean, there's not enough to warrant him being a long term guy. And now he comes out and acts like a clown act in this situation. I just don't think that's a good situation for him to be in. And I don't know if the Mets think it's a good idea to bring him back.
And when you look at, I think shortstop is one of the positions that the Cardinals are going to be looking at addressing this offseason. And when you look at the free agent class that's going to be out there, shortstop is one of the bigger
There's only one
markets.
guy. There's only one guy that I would have an interest in. That's Seager.
I was going to say Seager is at the top of the list.
Yeah, because he's a
Right.
left-handed
Yeah.
bat.
But you also, I mean, you have Story out there and you
Strikes
have
out too
Baez out
much.
there.
I don't want either one. I've got enough right-handed bats right now, and both of them are too streaky. That's why Paul DeYoung doesn't have a job right now. He's too streaky. And if you can't get Seager, then you have to invest somewhere else on your ball club to get a left-handed bat, because Sosa has proven in his opportunity that he can play the position. Now, what's he going to hit? Is he going to hit 260? Is he going to hit 275? Hey, if he hits anywhere between 260 and 275, I'm good with that. He can get on base. He does a lot of things at the plate. He moves runners along. He doesn't hit for the power that DeYoung does, but he doesn't strike out like DeYoung. So, and his glove is as good, if not better, than DeYoung because he's got more range.
Yeah, so I do think though that's the top priority, that and the pitching, because you figure out, we haven't talked about Reyes yet, but it does seem like Reyes is slowly working his way out of the closer's role with the Cardinals. He has been on record many times saying that he wants to be a starter next year. And then Mo also was toying with the idea of putting Jordan Hicks in the starting rotation next year as well. So
who's going to close in?
That's where you look at free agency for another option, or do you let somebody, or do you give that role to somebody like a Gallegos or a Cabrera or a Helsley, or I don't know what your other closer options are.
Okay, let's look at Helsley. He's hurt and he's a thrower. He's not a closer.
I'm talking about 2022, by the way.
I am too.
Okay.
So, for a guy who hasn't done it before, we're seeing the growing pains of that now with Reyes. Cabrera could possibly be. I think he's got to still mature a little bit and have a little bit more confidence in his secondary pitches. Hicks, I don't know. And the thing with both Hicks and Reyes, their deliveries are different than what they were when they were successful. They both short arm it now. And I think that's part of the problem. So there's a lot of issues to address with regard to the closer. That's a more important role than who's going to be in the rotation right now.
Yeah, there are a lot of options, a lot of questions going into 2022, but we still have to see what happens this week to see if there's still anything left here in 2021.
Let me ask you this.
We will take a quick break, come back, talk a little football right after this. It's Lunch with Claibs and Joe.
Every day, Ameren, Illinois works to deliver reliable energy throughout the state to on-the-go families, in-the-know grandparents, and busy students. But did you know we also have ways to manage your energy? Paperless billing, outage notifications, pick a due date, auto pay, and so much more. So no matter who you are or how you use your energy, there's an option that's right for you. Learn more at amerenillinois.com/options.
Back here on Lunch with Claibs and Joe Roderick, Mike Claiborne, as NFL Week 0 kicked off this week. Claibs, in college football, you had a handful of games take place on Saturday, but one with some local interest as Illinois had the debut of Brett Bielema as their head coach, winning 30-22 over Nebraska. Nebraska team that's under investigation for practicing too much.
Obviously not enough. And let's be clear on something. This is not a Nebraska team that is anywhere remotely close to what we've known Nebraska to be in the past. I mean, Scott Frost has got a lot of things on his plate that he's trying to figure out. I mean, he's very good at his previous school, but this is a different animal. I mean, Nebraska doesn't have the swagger that it once did. So I know that people in Champaign, or they probably let school out today. I mean, it's celebrating beating Nebraska, but this is not the Nebraska that we all once feared and respected. They've gone in a different direction, and it's been going on for a while. When you think about, they let Frank Solich go when he won 9 games. Then they brought in a couple of bozos, Pelini, one of them, and I just think that this is a program that's trying to figure it out. And they got a new AD We'll see what he can do. But it's a good win for Illinois. Let's just put it that way. But it's not one that, I'm getting my bowl playoff picture tickets printed for this particular scene.
January 1st game. Put it on the schedule after that first victory, as they'll be playing somewhere nice in a big time game after that. Absolutely.
Hey, you know what? Look at it this way. They only need 5 more.
That's
to be playing in a bowl.
They need more than 5 more to play on January 1st, though.
That's true. It's off to a good start, though. That's one less they got to worry about.
We're starting our football picks this weekend. I'm going to throw some college ones on there. I forget, did Hoffman win last year, or did you end up taking over at the end?
I'm not sure.
I have to go back and look. I have to go back.
I think he had like a 1-game lead on me going into, he may have pulled it off. I wasn't officially notified that I lost.
We need to put something on the line this year for our NFL picks. So
we should have a trophy.
Just a trophy? I mean, I can get a trophy. We can get a trophy made. That's not hard.
Yeah, no, let's do a trophy.
Okay, we'll get a trophy.
Because the money, you know what, guys are in so many different leagues and everything. I want it to be fun. I want to be able to pass a trophy around.
Yeah, we're gonna get all that set up this week. So the picks will be every Friday on the weekend. On Weekend Joe, we'll announce the picks, and then we'll go over the standings each and every Monday on Lunch with Claibs and Joe. So it'll be Saturday college games, Sunday NFL games will be the games that we pick for each and every week. So tune in to Weekend Joe for the picks, and then right here each and every Monday for the results of those games. So you have week 1 of the college football season starting off this weekend, and it will be, as I scroll through some of the big time games. I had Tom Dienhart on my show this past weekend. And we were talking about the Big Ten schedule and just how they are having so many conference games to kick off the season. And I know you and I talked about it last week. They're just hitting the ground saying, hey, you know what? These games are going to mean something. Week 1, no cream puffs. Get at it and go. Let's see what you guys have at the start of the season.
Well, I think it's a good concept. And here's why. Everybody's trying to get fans engaged, okay? And I think that college football saw how things worked last year, and they've watched baseball and they watched some other sports have a tough time getting fans back in. If you move up your schedule and put these good conference games on the schedule, it's going to bode well for you. It also gets some of the tougher games out of the way. And, you can still win. You can lose in September and still win in November. So what's it like now that you build momentum in your program and then you put a cream puff on later in the year? Well, now people have already bought into what you're doing, and maybe that even bodes better for you. So I like the direction. I like the concept, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, some of the big time games this weekend. You have Alabama in Miami. That's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta. And also Georgia and Clemson starting the week. I saw a stat earlier today. The last time Georgia lost a season opener was 2003 to Clemson. The last time Clemson lost a season opener was 2004 to Georgia.
So interesting.
Something's got to change this weekend for that. I got to tell you this. Next weekend will be the start of the NFL season. As this that'll be week 1. That starts off with the Thursday game down in Tampa. It'll be Cowboys and Buccaneers on September 9th. When you look at the excitement, when you look at the hype around the NFL this season, I think we are really seeing this year, opposed to any other year, that teams are not playing anybody of importance, it seems, in these preseason games. Unless it's a rookie that they're trying to get reps for, unless it's a rookie quarterback, you are not seeing anybody of value playing in any of these games. And
no, I think disagree with you. I think Kansas City put some pretty good players on the field in their last game. They put their starting unit. I think they went at least 4 series. So I know what you're saying. And that's why I always remind people 2 things. A, never bet opening day of the week of the season. B, you don't know what you have for a team until October because none of these guys are in legitimate football shape. You have to get your units squared away, and guys have to have a little bit more of legitimate reps. And I'm not just talking about in shirts and shorts. So it's still a fact finding time for a lot of teams and a lot of players. And I think it just goes to show you how thin talent is in the NFL, where teams can't risk losing a guy because their season is lost. And we always think about quarterbacks and running backs. I got news for you. You lose your left tackle, you got problems.
Mm-hmm.
You lose too many guys in your offensive line. And I look at Jacksonville as a good example. One of their guys goes down, then all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence's career is in jeopardy. Because if I'm playing Jacksonville, I'm bringing the house. I'm putting heat on him. And if he beats me, so be it. But my option here is to take him down, not to put him out in his career, but just put the heat on him. So
make him uncomfortable back there. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to give him, you're trying to rush him and put him in a position that he never had to see when he was in college because his offensive line was so much bigger and better than 95% of the games that he played in college football. So that's what you're not saying go at his knees and try to take him out. You're just saying put him in a position that he's never been in before in a football game. Probably not even back in high school, too.
Well, he's had a couple of brushes with him when he was at Clemson, but not a lot. But I think the big difference is the speed of the game is going to be higher. It's going to be faster. And I think that's something he's got to take into account. But, I think the game is thin on talent. And I think the reason why it's thin on talent is because these guys don't practice or play enough in order to get better. You don't have the developmental league anymore. You don't have the opportunity for these guys to get reps anywhere else. So you put them on the practice squad. Some guys have been able to develop from it. Most haven't. So I think the league is in dire strait with regard to developing talent. And they're now counting on the college ranks to do a better job. And if you notice, their offenses are starting to look similar, the pros and the NFL. And I think one of the reasons being because that way some of these guys can digest the playbook. And really the playbooks are nothing more than changes in terminology. The plays are basically the same, but the terminology is different. And that's something once you grasp that, along with learning a new technique, especially if you're a pass blocker or a pass rusher, everything else is basically the same.
This is Lunch with Claibs and Joe here on claibsonline.com. You're watching either on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitter. And if you've missed any of this, you can go to YouTube and watch it again, or we'll have the replay coming up later tonight at 5 o'clock. We will be back to wrap things up right after this.
St. Louis Acura is excited to announce the opening of our newly remodeled service lounge. We sell pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models and take pride in servicing what we sell. We offer free pickup and delivery service and a complimentary car wash and vacuum with every service. We also have a full-service reconditioning shop on site that can repair dents, bumpers, and wheels. As the nation's only 29-time Acura Precision Team winner for customer satisfaction, we work every day to make St. Louis Acura better than ever for you.
Back here on Lunch with Claibs and Joe, wrapping things up here in just a few minutes. Joe Roderick, Mike Claiborne, powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura, and sponsored by Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Find him online at thehomeloanexperts.com. I know you were off this weekend. Did you catch any of the golf this BMW Championship?
Yeah, I did. And here's a question I have. I don't know how much golf you play. But here's a question.
I have not swung a golf club in over 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. So this fits you then. What's more entertaining? Watching guys just break down a course like we watched these guys over the last 4 days in Michigan, or watch guys play a course that's tricked up where par might win? I thought this weekend's golf was fascinating. And not just the two finalists. There were some guys that were putting some low numbers down, and I really thought it was good for the game. I mean, watching these guys play the extra holes was certainly riveting, but I thought there were some guys who also played well along the way because they were shot making. It was very entertaining, and probably a guy in Bryson DeChambeau who either you like or you don't. There's very little middle ground with him. I mean, he's come across as being kind of a class A jerk to a lot of people. And he came out, he was crushing the ball like he always does, but he didn't have a putting game. His short game was okay. He stuck a few balls on the green, but he couldn't make the putts. And this goes all the way back to Friday where he had a chance to go 59 and he missed a 6-footer, then missed a 6-footer to win yesterday. So it goes back to where you drive for show and you putt for dough. And I don't think many people were upset that Patrick Cantlay won, considering his composure. They were completely opposites in how they play. And Cantlay just stayed within himself. I enjoyed watching him manage the course while DeChambeau was going for it with every swing. I appreciate it. I can't do it. So you had a little bit of both. But at the end of the day, it was good for golf. I thought it was a very good tournament. And, you watch enough golf on TV. When it comes to product placement, is there a sport that gives their sponsor more bang for their buck than golf?
Outside of NASCAR, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but here's the difference though. NASCAR, you see cars buzzing by at 190, 200 miles an hour, and a guy gets out of the car. He's got all of the logos on him. But for standard practice of just taking a shot at a guy, and I'll give you a good example with DeChambeau. He wears the Puma gear, and it's so strategically placed where it's hard to miss. And I just think that they just get such a bang for their buck as far as wearing stuff. Now, granted, you got to be a good player in order to be able to be out there late. But when it's all said and done, I think they get the best bang for their buck.
Yeah, I do. By the way, you asked the question at the start of that. I'd rather see the lower scores than guys struggling to stay around 1 or 2 under for an entire weekend. Just because I think when guys are hot like that and they're hitting those shots and trying to make it stick as close to the hole as possible, you see what separates them from
us.
You going out there and going out and playing Normandy. I mean, that's
exactly.
That's what it is. On that's what I like to see is that's okay. That's why those guys are as good as they are. That's why they're getting paid as much as they are. Speaking of getting paid, Claibs, this past weekend, last night, Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul in a boxing match in Cleveland, Ohio. The YouTube star Jake Paul defeated St. Louis's own, Ferguson's own, Tyron Woodley by a split decision. Will anything get you interested in these boxing matches that the Paul brothers keep setting up for themselves?
No, I'm not even remotely interested in watching them. I'll tell you, I will tell you what I do regret. I didn't see wrestling at the Chase this weekend. They brought that back.
It's here. It's here tonight and tomorrow too.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and I kind of missed out on that. So I'd rather watch that than to watch this clown.
They're taping shows Monday and Tuesday this week, still at the Chase. So they're still down there the next 2 days.
Well, I know Ric Flair was there the other night.
He was, yeah. The Nature Boy was made his NWA return this past weekend, and I saw that a new champion was crowned as well in the main event of last night's 73rd anniversary show that they had. Saturday night was the all women's event. Empower was the name of it, and Camille Brickhouse. Check out Camille Brickhouse, Claibs.
Is this on Channel 11?
No, this would have been on Fight TV. You would have had to pay for it on Fight TV.
Wrestling at the Chase.
It is the NWA. Yes, they are here for this weekend for 2 pay-per-views and taping shows the next 2 days.
Probably won't.
I don't know when they plan on coming back or how often they plan on coming back after this.
Okay, well, I wish them the best. The 3 words you just mentioned, pay-per-view, not gonna happen.
It's it's tough, and I really think that WWE has spoiled wrestling fans with putting it on a network for $10 a month, and now on Peacock where you can get it either for free or for $5 a month.
Yeah,
So it's kind of spoiled any of that over the years. Hey, when AEW comes into town in November, that's All Elite Wrestling. That's down at Chaffetz. We'll get you to one of the shows that they're going to have that weekend down here, and we can go watch some professional wrestling down there.
Professionals? Oh, why didn't you say so?
I'm getting your ass down there. It's first weekend of November. You're not going to have baseball.
I may not be around.
The World Series parade, the Cardinals World Series parade might be that weekend, but we'll plan around it.
Here's the deal. I've already got that week planned. Either I am at my alma mater's homecoming, or I might be at a Cardinal fantasy camp. I'm not sure. But you know what? You never know what can happen. I'm just saying.
Hey, you're off the broadcast again this week, so hopefully we can knock out some more stuff here for the website as we roll on. Rammer and I will have our daily card show each and every day, and I think we'll put on another good episode of Weekend Joe again this week as well. But I think we have a new show starting this week, don't we?
Howard Richards, Huddle Up with Howard, comes up this week. I think Thursday or Friday. I got to get with him today, and we'll figure that out.
Awesome. Sounds good. Claibs, until then, enjoy your week off, and we will talk to you soon.
You got it. Looking forward to it. And again, congratulations on the weekend.
Thank you very much. That's Mike Claiborne. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Lunch with Claibs and Joe, powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura, and sponsored by Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Find him online at thehomeloanexpert.com.